Hey again, YouTube. This is round 2 of the 12th of April 2017 Star Wars Destiny tournament. In this game, we will be watching the ObiMaz deck that I've created and piloted by me fight against the Jabba Dooku Mill deck piloted by Sophus, its creator. This is a pretty interesting match as Sophus has a history of defeating me through mill tactics, and so knowing that going into this match he could potentially defeat me very swiftly by taking away the cast that this deck so desperately needs, I really have to be at the very best I can possibly be. Watching two control decks battle it out can often be mean very long and very tedious battles of indirectly poking at each other, but with Jabba and Maz as the support characters for these giants of the Blue Dooku and Obi-Wan, hopefully we will get to see more diverse plays aside from you remove mine, I remove yours, let's keep going this ad. In this tournament, Sophus has been paired up to play against me as I won the first round I was in, but since we were 6 players, one of those who had lost in the first round had to be paired up towards someone who had won, which would of course make for a better tiebreaker at the end. We are now done mulliganing and are going to roll to see who goes first. I roll out a 2, and Sophus gets a 5. So he gets to decide. We play on the Emperor's Throne Room, meaning that I don't have the cargo hold strategy that the ObiMaz deck relies on for reviving Obi-Wan. I place both shields on Maz, and he opens by throwing down an Underhunt on Dooku. My first play is it binds all things set up from the very get-to-go of the game. Underhunt can have very severe consequences for a control deck relying on shields, but I do not believe the ObiMaz deck is that enticed by it. He rolls out Dooku, getting 3 discards in total, 2 different dice, and a single resource. I throw a Force Training onto Obi-Wan, and he takes away 3 cards from my hand. So, with 2 played and 3 milled, I have no hand left. I have to make do with everything I get. I roll out Obi-Wan, get the focus, the modified melee, and a resource. He doesn't like you, and I get the rage on Maz. Maz ability activates, resolving my range damage and granting me a single resource. I decide to go for Dooku in this matchup, as I've seen him load up Dooku at the early point in the game, meaning that he'll potentially throw more upgrades onto him. Sophus throws out Jabba, and gets 2 focus dice. Potentially he could have just not rerolled at this point, but he gets the 2 disrupts. Because 2 focus essentially means get whatever you want. I claim the battlefield, the Emperor's Throne Room that he has brought to the field, and get the special of my Force Training. I see his disrupt die, and as a direct result I decide not to go for resources, but for another shield on Maz, as well as another poke on Dooku. Sophus switches into a resource using his focus, leaving both of us at 1 resource by the end of that round. And we are now proceeding into the second round of the game. 2 damage on Dooku being the only damage dealt this round, as he managed to remove 3 cards from my hand, and as a result all of my options for rerolling. I throw down a 1 with the Force, and he plays Dark Presence. I was able to pay for 1 with the Force by using it binds all things with the 3 resources once kept from last turn. I get ranged, 3 disrupt, 2 focus, and a resource. He throws down a Vibro Knucklers, which has ambush, and it has discard size as well. That's a pretty good Spirit of Rebellion card right there, albeit its cost of 3 is a bit steep. He rolls discards, specials, melee, and more discards. He activates Dark Presence as he has rolled discard on his character. I now have to remove 1 of my dice. I remove the 1 ranged, I play Determination. Determination allows you to resolve a die as if it was saying something completely different if you have focus on your side of the board. I go for changing my free disrupts into free resources. Sophus rolls out, getting another 4 discards. He now has 6 discard his side of the table. Rerolls 1 die into blank. Activate Mars, and I get her ability. I can decide to resolve the 2 focus and the other die of Obi-Wan. The 2 focus resolves first, changing Obi-Wan into a free melee damage and Mars into a 1 ranged. I changed the resolve of Mass ability into her ranged, and my opponent allows this. I asked him for permission, of course. He discards 4 cards from my hand, basically meaning that I have no cards left in hand. So I do 3 damage to Dooku, but he activates the ability, discarding 1 to take 2 damage. Or actually, yeah, discarding 1 to gain a shield and then take 2 damage as the shield blocks 1. He now has 1 melee on his side of the board, as well as a special to remove all of Master's shields. I have nothing else to do, so I claim the battlefield. With no hand left, he can he could do anything he wants right now, and I wouldn't be able to stop him. That is the danger, I think, of the Mill deck. He goes for the poke on Maz. Maz takes the first damage on my side of the board. By the end of round 2, Dooku has 4 out of 10 damage, and Maz has 1 out of 8. There's been a bit of poking around, but he's clearly getting the advantage, as he has managed to mill down my hand and remove my options 2 rounds in a row. Not at all a good situation to be in at this point. I pay 3 and throw down a second chance on Mars. She will now resurrect once defeated. That's a very, very good upgrade, I believe. A holocron goes down on Jabba the Hutt. Sophus throwing this, clearly now knowing that Dooku isn't going to last in this game. I throw down another. It binds all things, now set up with 2 of those to reduce the cost of most upgrades in my deck. Sophus throws out Jabba the Hutt, decides to re-roll 1 focus and gets another focus. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. Exhausting the 2, it binds all things and paying 1, I get a Luke's lightsaber on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is pretty set up to go. It has both Force training, 1 with the Force and Luke's lightsaber. He's going to be very tough to deal with at this point. Sophus accidentally dropped a die here, and he picks it up to re-roll it. He gets a 2 focus on his activated Dooku, as well as a total of 3 discards. I activate Obi-Wan, getting the special. And a lot of blanks I see there, but there are specials, there are ranged damage, and there are resources. And the special of Luke's lightsaber is to do 2 unblockable damage or to gain 2 shields. Sophus throws down the mind trick, forcing me to pile my dice into 2 pools, and then he selects 1 of them and sends it away. I've piled it so that the range damage is in 1 pile and the special is in another, so he can completely remove all of my damage. He does remove the resource as opposed to the cards that I could potentially discard to reroll. And so I discard 1 card to reroll Obi-Wan. Or do I? I just said I would. Yeah, I did do that. Yeah. Discard to reroll the 2 dice of Obi-Wan, and I get the focus as well as a 1 melee. Sophus resolves focus. He resolves 2 focus, pondering if to go for the 3rd. He does go for 3 focus sides. He now has a single discard left, a 2 melee, and a holocron special. I activate Maz Kanata, and her ability lets me instantly resolve 2 dice once again. I resolve focus and a melee. The 1 focus turns the melee die into a free melee, striking 3 damage against Count Dooku. Sophus discards a card to gain a shield before damage is dealt, and as such, he only takes 2 damage, bringing him to 6 out of 10. I claim the battlefield, resolving the special of my lightsaber, ensuring that I'll start again, and doing 2 unblockable damage to Count Dooku. As I had no more options left in hand, I had really had nothing else I could do, and Sophus had likely anticipated that that is what would happen. He resolves melee damage, doing 4 more damage to Mars, bringing her to 5 out of 8, but she does have second chance on her. He resolves Sith Holocron special and gets the not the Holocron out again, of course, the Force Throw out. He then throws down Sith Holocron and passes to upkeep. We're now beginning the 4th, or we're ending the 3rd, and almost beginning the 4th round of this game. It's been a very back and forth. Mars is about to die, but has second chance. Dooku is clearly about to die, as I could just, at this point, claim the battlefield with my Luke's lightsaber on the board, resolve the special and do 2 unblockable damage to Dooku that would incidentally finish him off, and at least end his side of the tournament. However, Jabba does have Force Throw, and that could potentially be dangerous. I decide to roll out Obi-Wan just to get some more dice in the pool at this point, and I do get both a special of Force Training, a free melee, 4 resources, which is not at all what you want at that point in the game. Excuse me. Currently calculating the fact that I'm sort of helping him right now, because I just calculated for him that Dooku is going to die unless he removes my free melee, and so he decided to remove it. that was actually very, very stupid of me, because if he hadn't seen that, wow, yeah, then it was just one. I use one of my new favorite cards, Trust Your Instincts. It allows you to spot a blue character, reroll all of its dice, and then draw 1 card, or as many of them as you want. And I get a +3 melee on the lightsaber, a 2 focus on Obi-Wan, and a resource again on 1 with the Force. Sophus mitigates my focus away once more, and I get 1 resource thanks to 1 with 1/4 portion. 1/4 portion is actually a very interesting card from the Spirit of Rebellion, as it removes a die for any die, and just grants your opponent 1 resource. You don't have to have taken the battlefield or anything, and 1 resource really isn't a good trade for your opponent. He would rather have had that die. So I consider that a good removal card. I discard to reroll, getting 3 focus and 2 specials. He exclaims that Dooku is going to die. He can't change that, but he did manage to mitigate a lot of dice, so I had to waste my hand getting what I wanted to defeat Dooku. Activating Jabba, he gets a focus, a disrupt, and a special. That's actually a 2 disrupt on Jabba. Wow, that's pretty good. So he has 3 disrupts, he keeps it, and I pay 3 to play another second chance on Mars. Mars activates, and I get to resolve 2 dice. I resolve focus, two unblockable Dooku. Dooku is dead. I also focus my 1 with the Force into a 3 ranged. So with Dooku down, Sophus is not in a very good position. I still have potential 4 damage on my side of the board, and he really has nothing left to mitigate with. He spent so much trying to keep Dooku alive that when I managed to push him down, he has to go for a discard to get some rerolls into something that could potentially change the feel for him. He needed the special from Force Row and he just didn't get it. Yeah, so I resolve special from Force Trading, poking Jabba for 1 damage and then getting a shield on Mars. Sophus claims, activating the Force Throw special and tossing 3 damage onto Mars. Mars dies and is then healed for 5 damage, bringing her to 3 out of 8. I exhaust my 2 It Binds All Things and remove Force Training to play 1 with the Force for 0. Obi-Wan is now very, very, very loaded up as we begin the 5th round of this game with 2 1 with the Force and a Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Sophus needs to get milling. He hasn't really managed to do as much milling as he should, but there it is. Just as I said it, he plays no disintegrations, taking away top 3 cards of my deck for 1 resource. Obi-Wan activates. And I get the 1 melee and a 4 modified as well as the 3 focus. Sophus rolls 2 focus and 2 blanks, not at all an optimal situation. Max activates and I get to resolve 2 dice. I resolve the 3 focus on 1 with the Force. And nothing else. You don't actually have to take 2, you have to take up to 2. So I resolve the 1 with the Force of a die as well, dealing 3 damage to Jabba the Hutt. Unless he can manage to remove both of my melee dice, this will be over next round. Minor mistakes were made this game, but I believe that as long as both players are accepting the small mistakes of pointing in too late which the other die is and such, I guess that it's okay, as long as it's not in a Q tournament. Force Row, dealing 3 damage to Mars. Mars is now at 6 out of 8, but still has that other second chance on her. I resolve 6 damage against Jabba the Hutt, bringing Jabba to 10 out of 11 points of damage. I pay 2 to put down a Cunning on Mars. It's very late game to put down new upgrades, I guess, but with them in hand you might as well get to play whatever you can. Sophos discards some of the cards in his hands to draw up more as we proceed into the 6th round of this game. He did claim to get the special of a Force Throw to deal damage to Mars, so he does get to go first at this point. Sophos pondering the situation, he chooses to activate Jabba the Hutt. Two specials and 2 blanks, he decides to activate Jabba's ability to reroll 1 of the blanks, getting 2 discards. Obi-Wan activates. And I get 2 focus, 3 focus, plus 3. So much focus. That's what happens when you play a deck filled with focus sides. You just get those and then you get what you want. And there's the handshake, there's the GG. Sophos throws the 3 damage into Mars from my focus, but then I claim the battlefield, turn my Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to special, resolve that special, and deal 2 unblockable damage to Jabba the Hutt, finishing game. What up, guys? Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, remember to like, subscribe, and give any comments for further suggestions that you would like to see in my videos.
If you liked what you saw here, then make sure you go to my sponsor, KelsolDK, for any of your nerdy card gamey anime kind of needs. That is KELZ0R.DK. They ship internationally to every country in the world. And if you enter the coupon code RXYouTube into the commentary field with your purchase, you will get a mystery gift discount for purchasing. Again, thank you so much for watching this. Go there, get your good stuff, and I will see you all next time.